Hello once again everybody, and welcome to another episode of me picking up stuff and showing you the stuff I picked up here on a video, which is weird, but I'm still doing it. Now it's been a couple months, and as a lot of you know if you listen to my podcast, I babied up. It's not due until early December, but the pickups are slowing down. Now, doesn't mean they've completely stopped, and again, it's been a couple months, so I've had some time to accrue. And some of the things I've accrued are pretty cool. Notably, one of the things that I think are pretty cool is, well, none of these things. These things aren't great, but I'll show them to you anyway. Number one, Fist of the North Star for the Nintendo NES, based on an 80s Japanese anime, I think. The game, not great. The anime must have been good. They got a game for the NES in the 80s. Frustrating game, but somehow addictively fun. I think it's only addictively fun if you make it near the end and decide that, you know, it's personal at this point and that you have to beat it, or else the last 2 hours that you spent playing it are sort of lost in history. You'll never get them back, and you don't get them back if you beat the game either, which I found out after I beat the game. But it is a pickup, and I got it from a flea market. Some guy just opened up a new spot, almost walked right by it. Super nice dude. Was really blown away that people collect games, and I'm always surprised by that when people sell games. They're like, "Oh wow, you collect them too? Oh dude, man, I just play a few here and there, man." Next up is Ivan Iron Man Stewart's Off-Road on the NES, and this is a game that I thought I already had, and I thought I had it forever, and then I found out that I didn't, and this guy did. He had it. Picked it up for real cheap. Now, we have, Ivan Iron Man Stewart, what a household name, right? When you think off-road, and you think Ivan Iron Man Stewart. In fact, whenever you're riding with somebody and they hit the rumble strip, you're like, hey, easy there, Iron Man Stewart. Don't be going off-road now. You say that to them, you know, because of Ivan Iron Man Stewart. Next up, on the side of the road, Star Wars 32X. This guy was just on the side of the road. He was just selling stuff out of his truck, literally on the side of the road. And I stopped because I saw a little stack of the green ends, you know, like Xbox games. And I said, hey, worth a shot. I know there's one game there, maybe there's more. And sure enough, there was Star Wars Arcade 32X for $5. If you see a 32X game for $5, you know you got to get it. I actually already had this one. I'll be selling it or trading it in for some store credit, but it was a good deal. I picked it up. Just letting you know, if you want this, we can deal if you need it. Another one I picked up right there on the side of the road. Was Spider-Man X-Men on the Sega Genesis. Don't know anything about this game, and it's weird because it having Spider-Man and X-Men in it. And both of those having fan bases who are vocal and like to tell you when they're disappointed and like to complain about things that aren't good. I have not heard any of those camps complain or praise this particular game, so no idea what I'm getting into with this one, but saw it there, decent shape for being sold on the side of the road. So that's why I picked that one up. On that same trip to the flea market, not on the side of the road. This was in a building. This was in a structure. Was this amiibo of Captain Falcon. I didn't have him yet. They had him there for $12, which it seemed fair to me. So I went ahead and picked him up. I didn't have him yet, and he's one of the ones out there that I didn't have that I wanted. The other one being Little Mac. I do not have a Little Mac. Would like to have a Little Mac, but not quite yet. But I do now have a Captain Falcon doing a judo high kick. Yeah. Also, I couldn't pass up figures. You know how I am about having little doodads, little figures. First and foremost, I'm a Simpsons fan, and I found this one of Homer. I think it was yes, it was a Burger King toy. He's got a hat there. He's stepping on a thingamabob. I don't even know what this is in reference to. And I watch a lot of Simpsons, and of course the battery's dead, but when I hit it I hear just a little bit of static. I don't know what's going on here. I'll have to look this up, but for 25 cents, hey, what are you gonna do? Now the things I got was a little $1 pack of random Nintendo figurines. One of them is a Mario, and I'm pretty sure he's missing something because he has a hole in his foot for a prop. You can see the little guy there, little Mario. He's yippieing, I guess. You would say that's the yippie stance. And then you have two very daintily posed Luigis here. Just a little guy. He's skipping around there, and then this other one, which is definitely from some type of meal toy. He's see if I can read it here. I don't see it, but he just kind of stands there. So two Luigis, another Burger King toy, or maybe it had more that went with it. I have no idea, but it's just Donkey Kong in the grass, just hanging out, doing Donkey Kong stuff, just right there in the old grass. So DK from the BK, they say. All right. The other thing I picked up was our good friend Musty Hobbit. And of course, if you've not checked out Musty Hobbit on YouTube at his channel Second Breakfast, please do so. I just had the pleasure of meeting Musty in Chicago along with some other cartridge clubbers, and I have more to talk about that here later in the video. One of the games that I got from him, he was purging a little bit because of the move, and he was purging some good stuff. And I mean, if I was moving, I don't know if I would have purged these two items, but thankfully he did so for me. One of those was a loose copy of Streets of Rage. I've yet to beat the first one, but I hear the second one is the Bee's Knees, which is always a weird expression. I don't know. I thought bees were most noted for the honey. I thought you might want to do things for the honey of the bees. You might say this is the bee's honey because it's a very sweet thing. This bee's knee, I don't know what it tastes like. Maybe it's sweet just like the honey. I don't know. But this right here is the bee's honey and the bee's knees, so they say. I've yet to plop it in. I can only assume it works, and that Musty didn't sell me some tricked out version of Madden 94 and a Streets of Rage shell. So, but thank you, Musty. It was very kind to you. And the other thing was a box copy of Rocket Knight Adventures. And this is a game that I have discovered very recently. I've been making a few retro pies for myself and some close friends, and just discovered it that way, honestly. And what a lot of fun it is. Of course, it's made by Konami. You expect a Konami platformer, especially on the Genesis, to have some flash, be very well made, be fun, and it doesn't disappoint. So I was happy to get this one from Musty, and of course, it comes with the manual and the game. Both in there. So thank you again, Musty. This is a great pickup for me. I'm excited to play this one. It's going on the backlog very soon. Let's get into some stuff that's a little newer than Fist of the Star, okay? A little newer than Rocket Knight Adventures. We're talking about a Nintendo Switch, all right? And this is neat because this is a super early birthday gift. My birthday is not until August 8th, but right before my trip to Chicago, of course I left on July 23rd, so the weekend prior to that, I had made up my mind that I was going to go buy the Switch. Okay, I wasn't so sure that my wife could get it for me. Whenever I'd bring it up, she would say, I'm thinking about it, if I find it for the right price, I'm looking for deals, and I was like, I'll just save you the money, honey, just let me go get it for myself. And I was gearing up, I was ready to go. I was ready to get in the car, go to the Switch store, and get a Switch. And she comes down the hall with a gift bag, and I kind of knew, but I had to see it for myself. And sure enough, brand new Switch in there. Of course, I've been playing it, so the box is already on the shelf. But here's the Switch itself, and then along with that, her and Jake the McAxle, you know the guy, he had bought a game for me so that I could play a game with my new Switch, and that was Super Mario Odyssey. And of course, that's one of maybe the two best games on the Switch, the other of course being Breath of the Wild. So this is an exciting pickup, and thankfully I did get it for the trip to Chicago because I was able to beat this game before I even got to the parking lot of the Airbnb. What a fun game. I couldn't thank Jake enough for picking this one, and it was so much fun. So getting the Switch and this, and he and my wife of course coordinated it, and they hid it from me, and they were being, I just turned it on. What was I saying? So he and my wife, they went in together on this, and somehow this was all in my house without me knowing it. Of course, they sprung it on me, so it's good to have a good wife and a good buddy, you know? That's good stuff. And then for myself, before I left on that trip, I did a little Amazon shopping, got this Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap hard copy on the Switch. Neat thing about it, of course, the games I've in here, I got a little carrying case I put all my games in, but it came with a little little doodad, little dragon doodad there, which is neat. A little instruction booklet right there, which you don't see anymore. You know, you gotta love this stuff. Little instruction booklet there, got some art in it. It tells you how to play the game if you're stupid. And this original soundtrack sampler on a mini disc, which is really, really neat. I wish more games did this. I understand why they don't. I know it's a lot of money. It's a lot of the packaging and all that stuff. I mean, it just drives up the price. This was already a sub $60 game, so I mean, it's really a treat to get that kind of thing. Great thing to pick up and have on the shelf. So good Switch stuff so far, and I've also beaten that one as well. Also, same day I got the Switch, I went out and I had to get some accessories. I said I need a carrying case, I need a screen protector, I need a card charger, and I might get an amiibo if I can ever find one, because the stores quit carrying amiibos. You can't find them. Well, I found that the Best Buy in my town had all the wedding amiibos. They had the Mario, the Bowser, and the Peach wedding amiibos there, waiting to be bought, and gotta have that Bowser. Wanted that big Bowserlicious. Look how sexy that is. And of course, put him right in the game, got me a little wedding outfit, but I got to get the other two. I got to go back to that Best Buy and pick up Mario and Peach. And now I'm wondering why I don't, I mean, I'll rip this guy right out of the box. Why did I not have Captain Falcon loose? You know, it doesn't bother me to take these things out of the box. And I say that because I need the space. You know, the space is important. I want to collect more things, and there's a lot of air in here. This guy's got so much air. He's just taking up space. He needs to be out. Needs to be free. So much intricate art on this. Who wouldn't want to take this out of the box and have it displayed on a shelf where you can actually use it, or pick it up, spin it around, and have a good look at it? Taking them out of the box doesn't affect me at all. Just to show you, just to prove it to you. I'm fine with doing this. It's not a big deal. It doesn't really bother me. It doesn't bother me. I am not affected by this thing that I'm doing here, which is removing this. It's just a piece of plastic out of some other plastic and cardboard. I'm not bothered by doing this, ripping the box apart where you can't use it again. I'm not bothered by it. It'll never go back in the box. The box is gone. I think I'm okay now. For those of you who don't know, a lot of the members of the Cartridge Club went to Chicago for a Cartridge Con. It was basically for us to sit around and meet, partake in some public podcasts. We did live podcast records because we're all brought together by podcast. At least a lot of us are, and so it was good to go there and exercise that in front of a crowd. And of course, it's a lot of fun meeting new people. Unfortunately, my co-host Jade couldn't make it. That was just unfortunate. You know, a series of events which financially sort of banded him into not being able to make it. But hopefully next year he'll get to go. No matter where it is, hopefully we both get to go. Nothing's better than a live podcast with your usual podcast buddy, but I had a lot of fun there with James from Retro Pixel and Musty Hobbit. Speaking of James, if you follow James, you can search Retro Pixel, of course, on Twitter and YouTube. You'll find James's videos there and his podcast. He gifted me a 128 gigabyte SD Mini. It was, I guess, intended for my Switch, but I have a lot of other uses I intend to utilize this thing for. So thank you so much, James. Again, Again, it was a pleasure to have you on my show, and let's catch up another time. But this was a gift from James that I got there in Chicago. The other thing, Miles McGinnis from the Flock of Nerds podcast. Of course, you can see there I have a little Flock of Nerds doodad that was also gifted to me. He and his significant other, Catherine, I spent a good part of the week with them and my wife in Chicago, and we had a lot of fun. And I was gifted one night, went back to the hotel at Miles and Catherine's hotel there, and to watch some YouTube videos, as we do. Of course, watching that Retro Nonsense gang, huh? Check them out, Retro Nonsense. Those funny videos stuck in the 80s. Check those out. Those are hilarious. We were wrapping up a few of those. Miles says, I got a gift for you. I didn't bring anybody gifts. I came to Chicago, I thought I was the gift. You know, I was like, hey, you get to meet me, you know? I didn't bring anything. Didn't bring anybody anything. But Miles gifted me obscure there on the Xbox. Said he got a good deal on some Xbox games. This was in it, and he knew I'd been wanting it because me and my boy Briz, at Hokey Briz, like to play these scary games, and we've had this one on our list for a long time. And you know, what's not to love? It's featuring music by Sum 41 and Span. Span. What is Span? I'm familiar with Sum 41. Doesn't seem like scary music, scary movie, scary video game vibes. That's Sum 41. But Span, who knows? Weird stuff. But thank you so much, Miles. Can't wait to play this. It'll be going down very soon. The other thing I picked up from a cartridge clubber, I had picked up some manuals that the one and only Mighty Q Dog was in search of. And the Mighty Q Dog is I would classify him as being aggressively nice. He's an extremely nice guy. He has the heart of Chicago in him. You can tell by the way he talks and interacts. He's very entertaining. I love talking with the guy. I could have talked with him about, I mean, he was so engaging. He asked me what I did for a living. Nobody cares what I did for a living. We talked about it for an hour, and he pretended to like all 60 minutes of that conversation. As I gave him the manuals that I promised him, he gifted me this, and then paid me for the manuals and wouldn't accept. I didn't want to take the money because I said these are for your manuals. We'll just call it an even trade. But he insisted. And when a guy that nice insists, it's really hard to say no to him. So I ended up with Dr. Franken, and of course I picked up the manual for this earlier and said, just judging by the cover, it seemed like a cute enough game I'd want to play it. I don't know if it's any good or not, but now that I have the game and the manual, I'll put two and two together and get to it. But now I have this, and we had $6 for the tolls through West Virginia to get home. So thank you, Mighty Q Dog, for this gift. This was really cool. Thanks so much. The other two games I picked up, and these are probably two of the bigger collector's pieces in this entire video, and these came from the drug lord, so to speak, of the Cartridge Club, the one Scott at BG Collectaholics. Scott, you should really start a YouTube channel. I had a really hard time finding videos of you for this, but these are some big ones, and Scott just had these as doubles in his collection, like some kind of weird Scrooge McDuck of video games, just sitting on top of, he had a box for the NES he just had in his house, and he had a Gargoyles Quest 2, which I staked a claim in. Can't wait to play this. Now the Gargoyles Quest 1 is, I think, Game Boy exclusive. I could be wrong about this, but that will be a Cartridge Club Portable Game of the Month, I believe, in September. And so I'm looking to play those in order and having this one on deck here later in the year. So thank you so much, Scott. Another one is, I have now rounded out my Dragon Warrior collection on the NES. I now have 1, 2, 3 is complete in box, and 4. And again, I've only played the first one. I'm looking forward to getting into this one day. Who knows when? I got to play through 2, 3, and 4 first, but this is certainly on the list. So Scott, thank you for those two. I'm glad you are a Scrooge McDuck, else I wouldn't have either of those. On the way back from Chicago, I stopped into a little game store, still in Chicago, but I wanted to get out and go to a new store I'd never been to before. And they had a deal in there where you could buy 2 used games and get 1 for free. And I was really focusing on the Switch games. I'm trying to add some games to the Switch library, and of course I wanted some games to play on the 11-hour car ride home. And I went up to the desk and I had 2 used Switch games, and the guy said, you know, since there's not a whole lot of Switch games that are used here on our shelves, you can go ahead and find one that's not used to lump in the deal. You can buy one of those with a used game, you'll get a used game free. I said, that sounds great. But it was hard for me to find a bunch of Switch games, but I did come away with a couple, including Super Bomberman R. Now, I know it didn't get great reviews, but I thought it might be a fun little thing to play on the ride home, especially if I could get it as one of the free ones. But even though they had it on the shelf, he was unable to find it, so I had to look around the store, recalibrate, and find a used game to take home. And really, I wasn't interested in anything. So I got this complete boxed copy of Bubble Bobble. There, you can see it there, and it does come with a manual inside. It's a decent conditioned box, and I didn't have the box. I do have the game and manual, so now I'll have some trade-in fodder, because now I basically got the box, was kind of the deal. I don't collect complete in box, but I do love Bubble Bobble, so I will get those complete sets for the games that are sort of special to me, the ones that I particularly like, and so this was a good pickup there. Another one on the way in to Chicago, there was a game store that Jake and I hit one time. We went to see a metal concert because we live in nowhere, Virginia. Going to see Big Axe sometimes takes us out of the way, and we had to go all the way to Indianapolis to see 3 bands we liked from Virginia. So that's 10-hour drive just to see some bands, man. Nobody comes to the woods. But we did stop in Dayton at this game store. I think it is called Game Swap. I wish I had written it down, but I got a bunch of stuff there the first time I went, and I wanted to make a point of stopping there on the way to Chicago, and I did. And I got a few things from there. One of those things was a pretty cheap copy of a really good complete box version of Theme Park on the 3DO. Now, there's not a lot of good games on the 3DO, and I wouldn't say this is necessarily a great game. I did poke around and play with it for a little bit, and it's honestly not bad. I mean, if you like the theme park games, the God mode games, where you can just sort of dictate what goes on and sort of create your own fantasy park. And of course, this is a bit dated, but it was still fun. I mean, it has these, you can actually see these videos of your rides, and they're rendered in this mid-90s 3D cartoon sort of feel, like well before Pixar, but some of that stuff's really neat. So it has a bit of charm to it, and I picked it up I think for $15. I think it goes for a little more than that, so happy to have it there on the 3DO. The other two things, I'm in the trap of collecting Nintendo Powers, and I don't really know when I'm going to stop. I thought I was just going to collect the first 50, and I think I said that at one point. I'm like, first 50 and I'm done. But then I started getting Nintendo Power creep, and these are volume 70 and 71. They're $5 a piece. They come with, you know, they're in great condition. They have protectors, and they have the posters inside. These are still from what I would consider the heyday of the mid-90s. These are both 1995, March and April of 1995. So I guess I'll continue to creep that timeline up in my collection. I don't know where the nostalgia stops for me. It might be that I want all the Nintendo Powers and I don't know it. Or it might be that I just want the first 100 instead of the first 50. Who knows? Who knows? Alright, so I was stressing over that Bubble Bobble, right? And I needed some games to play on the way home. And Super Bomberman R wasn't there. So for Bubble Bobble as one of the used games. For my used Switch game, I got L.A. Noire. I got L.A. Noire, and it's kind of weird, right? Now, let me remind you that there wasn't a lot of used selection in this place. But L.A. Noire is an interesting game because, one, I really liked it. I thought it was a little underrated. It's not for everybody, but I thought it was a lot of fun. And it's been a few years since I've played it. I think maybe I've forgotten enough that I could go back through this. And I did play a mission, and it seems to be the case. I have the memory of a goldfish, which is good if you want to replay a game like this. But the other reason is because I think my wife might enjoy this on the Switch. Trying to get her into the Switch a little bit more. She has did a little clowning around in Mario Odyssey. She did enjoy her time with it. She's gotten a lot better at moving around in 3D space because she beat Skyrim. She 100%ed Skyrim twice, so she's good. She can do it. And so this is a game that I'm hoping she can get into because we're both into true crime, and she's really into the puzzles, and I think she'll really like this one. At least I hope she does. If she doesn't, I'll play through it again. I don't care. But this was one of the used ones I picked up. The other thing, this one was brand new. This was the brand new one the guy said I could go ahead and get. So I got Sonic Mania Plus, which is really neat. I've played a little bit of it, and actually about halfway through. And wow, it's so good. It's just so good. And this packaging. I'll talk more about the packaging here and talk more about the game on Polykill. But the packaging is really good. You got this sort of golden outer shell. I guess one of the problems with it is that it's not the same size as a regular Switch game, so it might throw off those who value nice consistency on their shelves. But of course, this comes with a box. This is a cool thing about it. Well, of course, on the inside there's a little insert, but if you take out this insert, you can take that inside there and flip it around, and you have yourself sort of a retro Genesis-style cover for the game, which is pretty cool. I've almost considered doing it. I'm not sure. I might still. But it has that with it. It also comes with an art book. So that's 2 art books I've got. 2 out of 4 Switch games that have come with a neat little art book. Alright, so that's it mainly for video games, but I have a couple other things that I want to show. I've been showing vinyls off, and I got a few that sort of define me as a person, which is not very deep. The first one being the Fragile. This one I've not even taken it out of the cellophane yet. This is a 9 Inch Nails release from the late 90s, 1998 I believe. This one's going to have probably 4 vinyls in it if I'm not mistaken, because it was a 2 CD set back in the day. This has some of the best of 9 Inch Nails on it. Of course they label their catalog by halos. I don't really get it. This is considered Halo 14, but what a masterpiece by them. I hold it as, still to this day, my favorite of 9 Inch Nails, right up there with Downward Spiral, and I saw it for a decent enough price. This isn't a cheap thing to get, but I had to have it. The other thing in the flea market I talked about before, I found Buckner and Garcia's Pac-Man Fever. I got Pac-Man Fever! And it comes with some other tracks that I'm not familiar with. Froggy's Lament, which I'm sure is in reference to Frogger. Ode to a Centipede. You can probably figure out what that's from. Maybe Centipede. Do the Donkey Kong. You know, pretty obvious. Hyperspacey, that could be Asteroid. The Defender, Mousetrap, potentially Mousetrap. And Going Berserk, potentially Berserk. Unfortunately, when I got this home, I picked this up on a very hot day. When I got it home, it was a little warped, so it could have been my fault, or it could have come that way. And I know there's ways to unwarp a record. You get 2 panes of glass, you put it in the oven. I don't have 2 panes of glass. I do have an oven, but hopefully one day I'll be able to straighten this out so that I can hear it. And here's one that I couldn't remember if I've showed on a pickup video or not, and I was too lazy to watch to find out. But Weird Al Yankovic in 3D, you know, come on, you gotta have it. You gotta have it. It's got Eat It on it. I Lost on Jeopardy, baby. A lot of good stuff on this. So Weird Al, you know I would love Weird Al. Alright, I think that does it. If you gave me something in the last 2 months and I didn't show it in this video, it just means I don't like you. Nah, it just means I forgot. I probably forgot a bunch of stuff. This is what I got. So, anyway. I was going to start doing things where, like, maybe I share things I'm looking for. Not to peddle, but just, you know, if I'm doing a video and people are going to watch it, I might as well see how far I can, you know, take it. But I'm looking for 2 things. One would be a loose GTA San Andreas. That's weird, right? You look for a loose one? Well, I have the box of manual, no idea where the disc is. If you have a good condition loose copy of that you're willing to just maybe give away, or for pennies, holla at your boy. I'm looking for that. And another one I'm looking for is Faria for the NES. Now it's gone up in price, but the reason I'm looking for this game, of all games, is because it was stolen from me like 8 years ago, and I was never able to get it back. And there's a bad taste in my mouth about it, and I haven't seen it even in a store since. So I know it goes for about $60 now, but if you got it and you're willing to deal, let me know. Other than that, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time. Peace. That's Jake says that. Catch you next time. Later.